Hi guys, I hope you're having a great day today. In this video, I'm going to be looking into the question, what did the person on your mind think after your last interaction with each other? So this could be after the last time you spoke to them or the last time that they saw you, just whatever resonates. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Amethyst. Group 2 is the Citrine. And group 3 is the Rose Quartz. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Amethyst. So let's see, the person on your mind, what did they think after the last time that they saw you or spoke to you or interacted with you? Okay, we have relax, have patience, and dream wide awake. So there's an energy here that this person is optimistic about the future between the two of you and very happy with the flow, with the rhythm, with the momentum you've established with one another up to this point in time. A lot of reciprocity, a lot of equal give and take. And it may be just in the process of like getting to know one another. There's a sense of like they're feeling comfortable to look towards a larger future with you. You've helped this person to kind of let some sort of guard down. You may have passed some sort of test or something that was like a standard by which they were vetting out people that should have more of an intimate or close role within their life, like closer to that inner circle, versus people that need to kind of just be kept at arm's length as like acquaintances, or, you know, in like the process of getting to know someone, like, do I want to continue moving forth with this person, or should I keep my options open and look elsewhere for what I'm seeking? And so your last interaction with one another has encouraged this person to invest more in building closeness, looking towards the possibilities of like, okay, what next between the two of us? So this is somebody that doesn't want to like drift apart. They're liking the fact that you're kind of just going with the flow with one another. Very authentic, natural conversations. There's a sense that you've shown them so far or satisfied a requirement, like, yeah, you are who you appear to be. My instincts were correct. My emotions were correct in kind of becoming interested in you, opening my heart to you, opening my mind and my energy and my life to exploring something between the two of us. Like you've checked off all those boxes, and it's not even, it almost feels like something that it's just within the vibe of it. This is somebody that might have, after the last interaction, looked beyond just kind of whatever had happened on the surface level, and this could be something where they almost were like checking in with themselves, sort of like, okay, now we've gone our separate ways, you know, the conversation ended, or, you know, the date was over, or we were hanging out and then we went back about our lives, and it's like they checked in with themselves, sort of like, okay, there was a euphoria, there was a high, there was almost, you know, this really feel-good energy in the moment. But how do I feel now? Now that I'm back in my own space, now that I'm back in my own reality, now that I'm back in my own energy, it's almost like they've filtered out that euphoria and they're listening to kind of that intuitive nudge within, which it feels like is the part of them where like the wall has come down, the guardedness has come down. It's like, you know, full steam ahead. They're setting sail for bigger possibilities between the two of you. Like they've gotten the green light from something emotionally within them that has almost blossomed. There's kind of a sweetness to this. This is something where it's almost, they may be wanting to make some kind of kind gesture. This almost was like somebody that if they were spending time with you face to face, that this is like, I love to see you smile. Like your smile lights up the room, or your energy just becomes very bright when you're talking about things you're passionate about, or you're excited about, or even, you know, things that they may have done or said the last time, little efforts that they could tell that you weren't just trying to placate them by showing gratitude or appreciation, but it's almost like they could read that happiness or that contentment, or almost like an excited sort of energy that is making you appear very, very luminous to them, very much like, I want to gravitate towards you. I want to do more in order to bring that kind of smile out, bring that kind of energy out. They're seeing you almost as potentially even a dream come true. Like there's a part of them that is now, it feels like, in that territory inside of themselves of exploring, like, okay, so this is feeling good so far. What if this is the type of relationship, or what if this is the type of person that I've been seeking all along? So you've opened up something within them that it feels like they may not be ready for, you know, like a deep and honest conversation about those feelings, but there's almost more of a willingness to sort of receive your energy, take advantage of opportunities to be near you, to speak to you, to spend time with you. They're seeing you as somebody who is, again, very, very filled with light. You're a very authentic person. You bring out a part of them where it's almost like they're able to relax in your presence. It may feel very natural to have conversations with you, or a sense of like, I can be myself with you in a way that I haven't been with another person that I was romantically interested in a while or before. Something where there's almost the idea of kind of feeling into far-ranging implications between the two of you, sort of like a broader future potential. It doesn't feel frightening to this person. It feels almost natural. There's a sense that they may have had kind of these moments of sort of like, I'm ready for love to blossom. I'm ready for a relationship to develop. Like if it's just a talking stage, they may be now kind of in this place of like, yeah, I could see myself settling down with this person. I could see us becoming exclusive. I could see a monogamous relationship. I could see kind of, stepping beyond the comfort zone. Like if you've just been chatting with this person online, this can almost be the energy like, yeah, I'm ready to meet up. I'm ready to have that phone call. I'm ready to kind of move beyond whatever the threshold or the boundaries have been in this situation up to this time. Like they're gravitating towards you. They're very drawn towards you, seeing you as a very attractive, magnetic, confident, authentic person. And it's turning them on like in a sexual way, but it's also stirred something by way of like, I want to show you tenderness. I want to show you the part of me that can be caring, that can be considerate, that can be thoughtful. So let's see what else they were thinking after the last time that they interacted with you. Okay, we have purposeful, mindful, and faith. So this is an energy of seeing you as somebody who is very aligned with who you are, what you want, what you will allow into your life versus what you won't tolerate. That you're somebody that puts your money where your mouth is. You're not just out here espousing these ideas of like, I want to, live a great life. I'm looking for good vibes. I'm kind of just trying to step into prosperity or success, or just whatever that looks like. It's a sense of almost you've done the inner work and you've cultivated a life outside of yourself that really matches some kind of internal drive or determination. There's not a sense of, this might have been somebody that had dealt with kind of partners that used them in the past, or used them as like a stepping stone, or kind of promised certain things and then it was a different story or a different reality, like further down the line. And so it feels like it's almost, this is somebody who's looking for a person that is self-reliant, somebody that kind of knows who they are and has their own life going on. And this is somebody that it feels like they're really looking for equal give and take, or something where it's like, I add something to the measure of your life, you add something to the measure of mine, and we're not taking away from one another in any capacity. And so far what they've kind of come to know about you is you are somebody who would be okay on your own. You are somebody who, you know, brings a very genuine, very intentional, and very like, if I set my mind to something, I take steps to accomplish that. I actively co-create with the universe, and I don't limit myself by outside definitions or even like internal doubts. So they're very intrigued and almost motivated by kind of how you're playing the game of life, how you're playing the hand of cards that you've been dealt, how you're dealing with your present circumstances. And instead of just kind of like going through the motion of things and having like a woe is me attitude, there's a sense that they see you as someone like you'll make the best out of any situation, or you're always kind of like thinking towards the future, not in a way of like avoiding the present, but sort of like, okay, beyond this moment, if I can't change the reality of my present circumstances, what can I do to ensure that I'm planting better seeds for myself in order to step into a more beautiful kind of future? So you may have opened up about things with this person as far as maybe what you have going on professionally, certain dreams and goals, or, you know, anything that you've sort of shared of like, this is who I was and this is what it took to become the person that I am today. And this is almost the energy of like inspiration, but also a sense of collaboration. There's a sense that they feel that you will achieve your goals, and that these goals in some sort of way may align with certain other goals or desires or wants or needs or requirements that they have in terms of the bigger picture of their life, or like the long-term future. And there's a sense of, I don't have to sort of compromise anything or cut things out of my reality. We actually do mesh really well. We do fit really well into one another's narratives. Even if you're aiming towards very different things in life, there's a sense that where it could almost be like opposites attract, or kind of how you're going through that process of co-creation or manifestation may look very different, but it's a sense of like that those roads don't matter because the end goal is the same. You're somebody that they're seeing like, this feels good, not just for who I am in the present, but the idea of you being part of my future is very intriguing. The idea that there can be an us beyond this moment, it feels something that aligns very, very deeply with like a realistic possibility that would be beautiful, because they're seeing the way that you've almost like beautified your life. You're very like disciplined and determined towards, you know, whatever you've got going on, or whatever you're striving for, but you're also very present to kind of make the most of the moment. They don't see you as somebody naive, but they see you as somebody who you'll find or create the silver lining for yourself, or you'll put your focus on that if it's not immediately accessible to you in the here and now. And that may be something that also brings forth that energy of like relaxation. There's a sense that this person doesn't feel pressured to perform in your presence, or almost kind of like where they're at in their life and in terms of bigger goals and dreams that they have. It's like, it's okay if I'm not at the finish line. It's okay if I still have work that I need to do. That you are somebody who embraces almost the potential of what you can become, and also the aspects of just being like a flawed human being in this moment. Like you carry that balance very well. That there's a sense of almost, not only that this person is starting to feel like my heart would be safe with you, but like what I've worked towards would be safe with you. What I am wanting for myself would be safe with you. And so you've reassured this person in some sort of way, again, that goes far beyond just sort of like, I'm sexually attracted to you, or I think you're an interesting person, or, you know, you fit in with kind of the the picture of what I think kind of success should look like, or my life should look like. There's almost a sense of this person kind of wants to build behind the scenes with you. Your determination, your faith or your belief, almost in a goal, or like the vision of what a best life would look like for you, that others might not understand, but it nevertheless motivates you. That is something that is very intriguing to this person. Even just the suggestion of that, or something that they may even kind of notice about you as sort of mysterious. You're not just kind of sharing everything with everyone. You know how to keep your own counsel. You know kind of how to keep your plans to yourself, and sort of let the reality of you where you are in any moment speak to that, and kind of looking towards, when the time comes, it'll be evident sort of what I was working towards, what I had done to kind of step into that version of me that could live within that reality of what I'm trying to manifest for myself. Financially, professionally, romantically, actually just in all ways, shape, and form. There's a sense that this person feels like, yeah, you're going to reach those goals. And they almost feel that they are better served kind of finding a way to continue to make things work between the two of you, because there's a sense of, I don't want to just be somebody that tells a story of like, yeah, I knew them once. I knew that person before they made it big. I knew that person before they had their success. I knew that person when they were building. They don't want to be that one that's like, I knew them, but then I bailed out. I didn't have faith to kind of see things through, or wounds or fears kind of caused me to hesitate instead of taking a chance. Like, they don't want to be that individual that is just part of your past. There's a sense of like, I want to be with you as you evolve, as kind of the future unfolds. I want to see what more can kind of happen between the two of us. So let's get a couple more, and then we'll get into some message cards. Okay, we have the Keeper of Self-Love, the Keeper of Stars, and the Keeper of Inclusion. So with this one, card number 1, Keeper of Self-Love, they may even be at the point now, the precipice of like, this could be the one. I think this is the person that I'm searching for. You have demonstrated that self-love in such a way that it's like, you're not perfect, but you embrace yourself as you are in every moment. Your competition is who you were yesterday, not what anybody else is doing. They see you as somebody that shares a lot of the same goals and values, and the perspective of almost like, I don't want to take the piece of your pie, and I'm not concerned if there's enough to go around for everyone, because I've created my own recipe, or I've found the recipe inside of myself, and I'm building my best life. I'm building my vision for me. And so there's a sense of seeing like, you're going to go very far in life, and there's a sense of, again, like looking towards the future. There's a sense that you've renewed some kind of spark of hope within this person, where they may have been kind of frustrated, like out in the dating pool, or just with kind of the nature of sort of connections or talking stages that they may have had with other people recently, or kind of in the last chapter of their reality. They could have been almost kind of jaded, like that maybe I just need to be alone, or maybe at this time in my life I'm not meant to find anyone. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I think I found a place where I belong. I have found someone, or I've interacted with someone, or I'm building with someone now that it feels right. They're moving away from kind of the energy of sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, or almost kind of evaluating your interactions and sort of looking for red flags that they might have been oblivious to in the beginning. That could have been part of like, they were testing or vetting this out in some sort of way, like taking your interactions at face value, but really also taking time to kind of process, okay, that was the presentation, but how does my instincts feel? How does this really feel? Does this really align with kind of what it is I'm looking for? Because they may just be at a place of like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste anyone's time. If it doesn't feel right, I'm not going for it. But your last interaction, or the last like several interactions, it feels like it keeps bringing them to this place of like, nope, this does feel right. No, this does feel like, it's genuine. This feels to align with what I'm looking for. You are someone who keeps presenting as like the opposite of everyone that it would have been a mistake or an act of like settling or low self-esteem that might have caused them to choose certain partners in the past, or even kind of push certain people away, that they're seeing almost like, okay, my efforts to try something different, or who I've had to become, or whatever I've had to shift the focus toward, it's worked, because now a person like you is here and I'm not pushing you away as hard as I typically try to push others away. Or, I've called you into my reality, or I've pursued you, and you're not just a walking red flag. You continue to be these green flags. You continue to be, this person that reveals themselves to have multiple layers to who they are. You're not presenting as like needy or codependent. You're someone who knows who you are. You've got your own life going on. And so it gives them the sense of almost like the opposite of maybe wounds that they could have had, of like, I don't want to be trapped in a relationship. I don't want to find out, when I'm already in deep, that like, okay, this person isn't who they presented themselves to be. And then it's a process of trying to kind of escape the relationship trap. That might have happened to them before, or like on multiple occasions. So it's almost a sense of like, I need to make sure before I commit myself fully. And so your most recent interactions, again, has like really reassured them without you even knowing it, kind of just the way they feel within. It's like, okay, I get butterflies when I'm near you, but it's not like cortisol from trauma bonding, or some kind of wound that's calling me to enter into like another toxic or karmic relationship. They're seeing that this is like healthy butterflies. This is the energy of kind of, they feel very uplifted in your presence. There's a lot of reassurance. There's that spark of hope that's been renewed, like, okay, I found the needle in the haystack. I've found this person that is different from anyone else I've been able to call into my reality recently, or, in kind of a larger sense, maybe their entire track record as far as romance. You're different from the others. And so this is something it feels like that's drawing them in. There is a desire to have more interactions with you, and to strengthen that closeness, or expand that bond in some way. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and they say, I have no words for your kindness and generosity. So they see you as somebody who is very authentic. You're very giving to others. Even when you take time for yourself, you may be the kind of person that's like, my mood is off, I'm in a funk, I'm just gonna close off, I'm not gonna, overextend myself, or I need to take me time, or, or something like that. And it's the sense of, that's very generous, rather than kind of expecting other people to lift your mood, or kind of self-sabotaging inadvertently. Or like taking that out on other people. There's a sense of, even at the times where you've had to prioritize yourself, you've demonstrated an encouragement to this person and to anyone else that they're kind of like aware of, or they've seen you interact with in your life, of like, you have your own best interests at heart, but also the well-being of people you care about, or people that you're getting to know, or people that are like part of your life and part of your reality, which it feels like is really a breath of fresh air. It's encouraging this person to not step out of their own kind of pattern of what their needs and wants are. That there's a sense of, they're encouraged to almost find ways to compromise, or almost expand kind of the nature of how you communicate those things to one another. Maybe even like the need to sort of take time to oneself. There's a sense of, there aren't uncomfortable silences between the two of you, but it's a sense of, there's a lot of unspoken respect, or almost an intuitive knowing, like you're not just taking when they can't pour at all times into the situation, like your ego hasn't been bruised. You're not like taking that personally or taking it out on them or holding any kind of grudge about that. And so there's a sense of, again, like very safe to be themselves, or kind of letting that guard down and relaxing, like, okay, I don't just have to perform and kind of be on point at all times. I can be having a hard time, and there's still space for that somewhere within this connection, or within the nature of your interactions with each other. They also say, don't think I don't care about you, because I really do. Yeah, so feelings are starting to blossom within this person deeper than they have let on. And there's a sense of it's feeling right to them. This is somebody who may kind of be fearful of commitment, or, opening up about their emotions, or even sitting in their own emotional space and kind of naming those things, or like feeling their feelings. That could be something that they wouldn't define as their strong suit, and that might have been almost a breaking point in other connections. Other people, like previous partners, could have been like, you're not emotionally available, or you're kind of shut down, you're not very romantic, you're not very sensitive. And it feels like it's actually the opposite. This person is deeply sensitive within, but then there's almost like a guardedness, because people could have taken that kindness for weakness, or that soft side, and kind of twisted it in some sort of way. And so it's almost like they've put up a wall in some capacity, and even if it's not, they've not been as expressive as you've wanted them to be, they don't feel pressured to be at any place within that scale of readiness than they already are. There's a sense of like, your worth is not determined by this person like showering you with compliments at all times, or gassing up your ego. There's a sense of, you can just be real with one another, you can be honest with one another, and this is encouraging that part of them that wants to give affirmations of affection, wants to give indicators of like, yeah, I'm interested in letting you know I feel something unique for you, I feel something beautiful for you, I feel something that brings out this tenderness within me for you. That is something that it feels like this last interaction has called them into a place within where like the idea of that feels safe. They also say, I'm afraid if you touch me, you will destroy me. So there is a sense here that this person has a hard time letting down their guard, opening up emotionally. There's a sense of like, I can't handle heartbreak, but I also don't want to end up alone, or miss this opportunity with you. So it feels like they're trying their best to kind of like hold their ground at this particular point in time, not run away, not self-sabotage. And any kind of grace that you've given them in that capacity, you've either sort of picked up on that energetically or intuitively, and you're kind of like, all right, I'm gonna just match your effort at this point. If they've gone kind of still, or they've needed to sort of drop away and again kind of process their emotions, it's like your life is still going on. You're still in the midst of kind of your reality, that as they're like seeing this or thinking about it, or checking in, even the fact that you might not be chasing them at this point, it's so refreshing from people that they've dealt with before that might have put a lot of pressure on, or needed this person to, or like another person, like a romantic partner, to sort of feed them attention, feed them affection, and in order to kind of, boost their self-esteem or whatever else. And you're not that kind of a person. This individual feels that there's a lot of freedom for them to kind of grow and expand with you emotionally in the time that feels right for them. And there's a lot of appreciation that they have for that. So this kind of brings the energy of like, they may be getting ready to sort of show you some token of affection, something of their appreciation. These could be like deeper conversations, or even something that they kind of bring forth to the surface, or present you with, that kind of gives you an indicator of like, I don't just want this to be a temporary situation. I like where things are at, but I'm also thinking about, let's expand this, let's deepen our interactions with one another. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got W, K, T, X, U, U H P F L B C P Y F C Q E and R. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the citrine. So let's see, the person on your mind, what were they thinking after your last interaction with one another? Okay, we have use your power, receive your blessings, and take the opportunity. So it feels like this person was actually very thankful that you slipped through the hands somehow of a previous person or all previous lovers, because it has put you in a position of like, now you're mine. Now I have the opportunity to take the leap of faith where others had hesitated, where others had fumbled you, where others had been unable to appreciate the blessing of who you are, or weren't evolved enough within themselves emotionally, spiritually, actually within kind of like how they were living their life or their priorities, to be able to create a safe space for love to blossom and flourish between the two of you. It feels like it's something as well that after the last interaction, if this person had still been kind of like if they were over an ex, but maybe their self-esteem took a hit, or they were just kind of like, okay, let me try to get back out there, or had been just sort of feeling like maybe, the best thing that had happened to them, they'd let that slip away. Like if they were in that kind of position within themselves, like, okay, I fumbled somebody that at one particular point in time, I thought they were the world, I thought they were everything, and that fell apart. And it's been difficult for this person to kind of get back on the horse or believe that like a beautiful love story or feelings of like intimacy and trust would be possible with another person again, or if they'd been like, I don't know if I'm ready to put myself out there, I don't know if I'm ready to date, I don't know if like I had a chance at happily ever after or true love, and then I messed that up, maybe I'm not lovable, anything that was like negative self-talk that might have even just been kind of in the back of their mind, or when they're like alone late at night and kind of those feelings or those memories start to surface, anything like that had been sort of like haunting them about their own past. There's a sense of your last interaction with one another shut the door to something very abruptly, very firmly, and in a way that they're almost like, okay, this feels like relief. This feels permanent, of like, I don't even care about those other situations that fell apart, because here's this person in the here and now. Like those other losses that happened, those other situations where maybe I'm not proud of how I behaved in romance, or I've been kicking myself, I've been blaming myself, I've been groveling, I've been trying to change or prove that I'm different. Something where, there might have been situations where they were in the wrong in previous circumstances. They were the bad guy, they were the bad girl, they were the one that kind of like hurt someone else, where they were careless with somebody else's heart, and they could have almost felt like, okay, am I being punished for that? Am I experiencing like bad karma? Like, anything where they'd kind of taken that to heart or taken it very personally. There's a sense of kind of like, okay, that debt has been settled. That sense of kind of not too optimistic about what the future would have in store because of whatever they were involved with in the past and maybe their role in another person's suffering. This is almost a sense of like work that they'd been doing to like forgive themselves or move forward or try to kind of just utilize the time they still have available to them to still create something beautiful out of their narrative. It's almost like you've arrived in their life, or even if you've been like interacting with this person for a while, there's a sense of like a threshold has been crossed where it's like none of that other stuff from before with other people matters. Like they're seeing you as someone very unique, someone good for them, somebody that it's almost like this is an open door of opportunity between the two of us. And I know someone like you won't come around again in this lifetime. They may see you as almost like heaven sent, some kind of blessing, some sort of incentive as well for them to continue to kind of close out or process or just work their way through experiences that they kind of don't have a choice about stepping away from. Anything as far as like karmic cycles or things that it's like, okay, there's an end date, there's an end goal to something, but it's not here yet. Like I have to just kind of ride this wave or see this experience through to its conclusion. You're helping the idea of what comes after that for them that may involve like a promotion that expands things for them financially, or something that they've been working toward that would open new opportunities for them to travel or move or, kind of change the way they're living their life or what they're having to prioritize at this particular point in time. Like on the other side of those things that are like, these are commitments that they can't do anything more other than see those through to completion. You've arrived to almost help to stave off some kind of like loneliness or hopelessness or almost like a fear of the future, or even a sense of like apathy they might have had towards the future. Like, okay, I'm in the midst of whatever might be going on, trying to just sort of grin and bear it through whatever I have going on in my life right now. Maybe feeling kind of like, all right, difficulties are happening because, I didn't operate as my highest self in the past. And so anything that they've been trying to kind of wipe the slate clean for themselves or kind of, again, just like evolve beyond some kind of version or some experience in their life, it's almost like you've shown up as this reassurance of like, it'll be okay, or there are still beautiful things to experience. No matter what has happened before, you're still worthy of love as you are in this moment. It feels like your voice, the things that you say, they find to be very refreshing or very relevant. Like you speak not only to wounds, but to higher potential. Like you speak to the wounds and you activate some kind of healing within this person where they're really able to step into a place of like, the past is unchanging, but I'm here in this moment and I'm interacting with this very beautiful person, this very beautiful human being. So I must have done something right, despite what everything looks like on the surface, despite what my past would try to have me believe. I wouldn't have aligned with or been allowed to kind of interact with someone like you if I was that terrible. And so you're helping this person almost like a guiding light, kind of. You lift this person's spirits, or you're making them more alert internally to the idea of what comes next, rather than a fear of the future or like, I'm just trying to do what I have to do right now and I can't think of anything outside of that. You're helping this person to kind of like peek into the energy of like, there's new cycles to experience. There are better things ahead, better days are ahead. And so they're very excited to kind of continue to get to know you, to continue to talk to you. They're fascinated by the way your mind works, maybe even things that you've shared with them about your personal experiences in life and kind of how things have shaped you, fears you've had to confront, versions of yourself you've had to release in order to kind of choose you. Anything that has been kind of like a struggle where you've created victory or you've recreated yourself in the aftermath of all of that. It's something where it's almost this person is looking towards the idea of like deeper romantic possibilities with you, but there's also a sense of like, I'm really grateful that I've just encountered you on like a human to human basis. Like you feel very significant or very relevant for them in terms of like your words of encouragement or your presence almost feels like something that's heaven sent. Like they may be going through struggles or just internalizing a lot, and there's almost a sense of you're this angel who has appeared to kind of provide them some sort of reassurance of like, you're not alone at this time. You are not unworthy. You are not past the point of redemption. And so it feels like they're sensing like you're somebody who's necessary for me at this point in my life, because there's something that they're like holding on to, like they're holding on to every word, or there's like the echo of sort of the deeper implications in the aftermath of like you talk with one another, even just if you're, you know, surface level chit chat, just being in your presence is almost like very refreshing. It's something that like they can look on the brighter side. The heaviness, the chaos that they're dealing with, it's almost like somebody like you exists in the world, so it's not, things are not so terrible for me at this particular point in time. So let's see what else they were thinking after the last time that they saw you or spoke to you or interacted with you. Okay, and we have adventure, abundance, and meditate. So this energy of like adventure and meditate, you again are really helping this person to see on the bright side. They're starting to kind of rethink things that they might have been very like hard about themselves from their past, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of regrets that they could have had about like previous partners where they could have broken people's hearts, they could have cheated, they could have lied, they could have betrayed, they could have operated out of that lower nature, that in some sort of way, whatever's happening right now, maybe internally chaos or, just things that have kind of like shape the way where they're at in their life, or they may just be in kind of like an introspective time, or maybe this is like a significant period of time of like a rite of passage, or things happening in the lives of people around them that's causing them to sort of put that focus within and like, what choices did I make, or what did I do that's kind of led to where I am currently. Instead of being really hard on themselves, there's this energy of kind of like the best is yet to come. There's, I operated out of a wounded place, or out of an unconscious place, or out of a toxic place in my past with other people. But that doesn't define who I am. Just because I was the villain in somebody else's story doesn't mean that I am not a hero, that I don't deserve that happily ever after. So the more that they experience, they see you as somebody with like an abundance mindset, everything you touch turns to gold, or you're able to wear your own kind of scars with pride. You're not ashamed of any of that. Your wounds have shaped you, and there's a sense of almost like the way you carry yourself in spite of that, because of that, it's something that is helping this person to really see beyond their current situation, or everything that went wrong before, the voice of all those inner critics that are telling them they're not good enough, or they're not worthy, or they're not lovable, or they're not enough, or they've broken hearts, or done things they're not proud of, and so therefore life is just meant to be like suffering and disappointment for them. Like these false narratives, these erroneous beliefs, these projections even that society or other people, or even just their own kind of conscience has applied to them for a period of time that may have been very necessary. It's almost like you're the key to that period of time beyond all of that. Like the debt they're needing to pay to society, or to kind of people they've hurt in the past, through this energy of like, okay, I'm going to need to sit and think about things. I'm going to need to wallow. I'm going to have to feel a taste of the pain and misery that I put someone else through. Like beyond all of that, there's a sense of there's something more than that. I can let myself off the hook. I feel that I have been forgiven, or that I'm redeemable, that I'm lovable, that I can still have a beautiful life, or that someone can see me and can love me and can appreciate me for who I am, for who I've had to become. And that person they're seeing is you. It's like you set the tone for almost setting one's sights higher, to move beyond that place of self-punishment and maybe even like self-abandonment. This could be somebody that like keeps people at arm's length or pushes people away, or has been very like non-committal or just not really in the dating pool very much, because they might have felt like, well, it's just, everything I touch is ruined. And you're the opposite of that. Everything you touch turns to gold, and it's helping this person to start to see themselves that way. Maybe it wasn't all their fault, or if it was all their fault, maybe the work they've put in to evolve, to grow, to learn from their mistakes and try to be better, maybe that wasn't for nothing. Maybe that wasn't just an endless form of penance, but that they are worthy of kind of like vindicating themselves. So you're encouraging this person to start to kind of turn the other cheek from almost like a lack mentality or a self-deprecation or the sense of like I'm not lovable or I'm bad at relationships. Now they're starting to look at the energy of, but what if that's a lie? What if that's not true? What if that applied to the version of me that I had to shed, or that collapsed during tower moments, or that I had to kind of leave in the dark during my dark night of the soul? It's almost like you're that light that sort of encourages this person to reach for more, believe more is possible, embrace the idea of new beginnings, a new them and a new chance at life and at love. And so it's not just the exchange between the two of you. It's something in your energy or kind of what you've shared or what they're starting to kind of understand about almost like who you are. And again, this sense of sort of like you've not crossed paths arbitrarily, like you've crossed paths at this time for a reason. That there's a sense that like whatever the outcome is between the two of you, they would always think of you as kind of like an earth angel, like this person that arrived, that was sort of like the answer to the prayers at the point when they were getting ready to like, shut down emotionally, or their heart had gone cold. It's almost like a revival happens. You came right when they needed you to. And so there's a lot of gratitude for your presence in their life. Let's get a few more, and then I will get into some message cards. Okay, we have Keeper of Innocence, Keeper of Journeys, and Keeper of Nurture. Yeah, so this is all about the energy of like nurturing that new beginning, the present circumstances between the two of you, and with what it feels like with whatever this person especially has going on in their life right now. It might even just be a part of them that is kind of like, I'm not worthy and deserving of love because I was careless with somebody's heart in my past, or I did things I'm not proud of in other romantic relationships and have had to pay the price for that, or it caused damage emotionally or to the lives of other people, where they might have been having a lot of guilt and shame that had been kind of eating away at them, or had been preventing them from believing they were worthy of love or worthy of anything long term, or that like good things could last. You're helping this person to kind of come to this place energetically, which it feels like is really necessary for them, this assurance within, or giving themselves permission to kind of just shut the door to the past, live very much in the present, and keep reaching for something better in the future. Energetically, it feels like that is something that has to kind of be more of an experience for them. And that in and of itself is the key that unlocks the door to something more deep and meaningful between the two of you in the material world. And so there's a sense of almost like the best years of my life haven't passed me by. I'm not so flawed of a human being that I am unworthy of love and partnership, or that I'm unlovable. You're somebody that is causing them to start to dream again, start to reimagine a different kind of future for themselves. They may have been investing a lot of energy into like, well, if I'm not lovable, I better start just getting used to the idea of maybe I'll always be alone, or it'll just be surface level connections, or temporary people that kind of come in and out of my life. They might have just been focusing on other things like career and abundance, and not sort of like out there, not really hopeful that there would be anything good out there. And with you, there's a sense of maybe this is my finest hour. Maybe I can begin again. Maybe there is life for me on the other side of a period of time where I needed to just sit in the energy of the wreckage of my choices in the past. But that there was a sense that they'd almost like thought to themselves in some way, maybe that's got to be forever. Maybe happiness is meant for other people because I was careless with the gift of previous people's hearts or trust or, experiences that I was gifted in the past. Like I was careless with those things. I damaged those things. And so maybe I'm now deserving of nothing. Maybe lack is all I'm worthy of. That had kind of sustained them for a period of time. That darkness, that dark night of the soul was very necessary. And you're almost the tap on the shoulder from the divine that says it's time to wake up. It's time to start living more deeply, or again, it's time to release that version that needed to punish itself for a while. It's time to release that version that felt good things are not for me because I ruined a good thing in the past. So you're helping this person to just not blame themselves as much anymore, not compare who they were to like what is possible for them. In general, it feels like you're helping your most recent interactions or series of interactions, it feels like, has helped this person to start to have more compassion for themselves, which is lifting them up out of some kind of rut. Something where they may put on a poker face. You might not even know that this person could feel really down and out. And you brighten their day. You brighten their mood. You help them to understand, like, it'll get better. Or there's ways to kind of achieve gratitude in the moment, even when everything else sucks and might not be ideal. Like there are ways to kind of make the most of the moment or seek out those experiences of beauty to counteract or balance the heaviness that one can't control. So they see you as somebody that is like, you're good for their emotional health, you're good for this person's mental health. You are somebody that is very inspirational for them to start to kind of open their heart, not just to the idea of love for another person, but love for themselves. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, we have, you are my dream come true. I am shocked at your existence. Yeah, so they definitely see you as like an answered prayer, somebody that you're able to really not just speak to this person emotionally, but you speak to their wounds, like long-standing or ancient wounds within them that happens in such a way that it's almost like these wounds become still in your presence rather than them recoiling or feeling frightened to be sort of seen or judged in some kind of way, because you're able to feel into, or your energy penetrates like those hurt or desolate parts of themselves. It's a sense of like, even in those dark corners within, your light brings a lot of healing, or it brings them a lot of reassurance. So they're very grateful that you've arrived, almost as kind of like a lifeline for them, in the sense of you're forcing them to kind of look beyond present circumstances into the idea of like, okay, after all the chaos, what are those experiences of sunshine? What are those experiences of peace? What are those experiences of freedom? What's that going to look like? We also have, I would just hurt you more right now. I need to be alone. Yeah, so this person could be going through a lot that they may not have shared with you, or you may just be like aware of on a surface level. But it feels like anything they're struggling with in the moment, this is something that has to do with like a bigger pattern for them that they've been striving to kind of break free from, deal with the repercussions of. They've been actively investing their effort, it feels like for a while, in trying to reinvent themselves. And you've interacted with this like reinvented version, but there's also this kind of sense of, you're gonna have to find out like who I was in my worst moments, because who I am now won't make sense otherwise. And so there's a process of almost bringing themselves to a place of feeling more comfortable to be sort of seen or understood by you, but then also there's a sense of they're walking that road for themselves. the more you keep showing up for them, or allowing them to show up for you, it's a sense of, okay, I don't just need to be judged based on my failings or my worst day or, the time period of my life that I'm not proud of, things that I did, things that I said, experiences I created for other people that were negative or were not good. That doesn't define like who I am in this moment and what the future can look like. So it's almost like they're walking themselves out of the pity party. They're leaving the pity party in order to kind of meet you at a place where I'm fully invested in kind of what does the future hold. I know what the past has to say about me. I know what the past thinks I'm worthy and deserving of based on who I was when I created a memory for people within those past circumstances. But I'm in the here and now, and my future is more worthy of my care and attention than the sentiments that are the result of the person that I was before. They also say, you are my favorite work of art. So they see you as their muse, as their inspiration. They love your light. They love your energy. They love the way that you hold yourself accountable. And you've also mastered in some way the art of self-forgiveness or self-compassion. And so it feels like as this person is kind of choreographing a different kind of future for themselves, that they see you as somebody that they would like to continue to build with and co-create with, to get to know. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got U, V, D, S, R, P, A, K, G, E, C, B, Y, O, N, B, Y, E, and M. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the rose quartz. So let's see, the person on your mind, what were they thinking about you after the last time that they saw you or spoke to you or interacted with you? Okay, and we have study to know yourself. Protect your boundaries, and rest deeply. So they see you as somebody who's not going to settle. You know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you're not going to entertain in your life. And there's a sense that they walked away from your last conversation or interaction with a sense of like, I'm really going to have to put in work for this person. And I've never been so motivated to rise to the challenge of winning someone's heart or trust or affections or claiming a more significant role in their life than I am in this moment with you. They find it deeply appealing the way you're not making this easy on them, or in some sort of way it's like you put your foot down about something that, again, they're going to have to like prove themselves or earn time in your space. It may have even been something where during like your last interaction, if you had, disagreed with them, or you had kind of, not like a fight, but sort of just, they kind of just assumed you would go along with something, or kind of like, oh yeah, so next week, same time, same place, and you had even just said, no, I'm not going to be able to make it, or no, I've got plans with someone else, or, something like that, where you might have even just kept like vagueness or mystery, but you declined them in some sort of way. Even if they were like, you were with one another and maybe they tried to like get intimate with you, and you kind of pushed them away, or you just sort of, you cut them off, or you rejected that in some sort of manner. There's a sense that they find that energy to be very sexy, very attractive, kind of like, okay, you do have your own life going on. You're not just here kind of at my beck and call, but you're somebody that you've got many layers, many facets to you. It's like you've thrown them for a loop in some sort of way, where it almost like if you had sort of shut things down abruptly, or like drawn the line in some kind of capacity, it's like they're respecting your boundary or respecting your no. Something where you'd even just been like, I'm busy that night, and that could have gotten their mind sort of wandering into this area of like, oh, are they talking to somebody else? Are they dating someone else? Or this person might have even been like, are they getting tired of me? Something that has kind of like amped them up in a way that they're like revving their engine to pursue you a lot harder than they have been. They love your independence. They love the fact that you understand that you're the prize, that you're not somebody who's going to like prove your worth, but you are open to others kind of showing who they are, or what they bring to the table. You're not one of those people that is going to comply with the idea of like, oh, this is me trying to prove my value as it adds into your life. But there's a sense that you really are like a sovereign within your own life. You're very aware of kind of like who you are, and again, like what you bring to the table. And so this person's almost been put on notice that, yes, I like you, or yes, I enjoy the nature of our interactions, but don't just assume that you're a shoo-in because things have been flowing between the two of us. Like, the nature of almost challenge or giving chase in some sort of way has shown this person a level of autonomy or independence, or even something that's coming through is kind of like a sassy energy, something where you might have been kind of bratty with this person, and they could have just been like, wow, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that side of you. And so it's kind of thrown them for a loop, but it's awakened something within that's like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted. I wanted that pursuit. I didn't want you to make it easy on me when I'm trying to assert myself into your reality. There's a spiciness to this energy as well too. So they love your spicy side. They love your outspoken energy, your independence. They see you as somebody who is very, very respectful, very, very peaceful, but you know your own mind. You are not a pushover. You can hold your own, and so this is something that they find to be deeply attractive, deeply intriguing, and deeply attractive. So let's see, what else were they thinking? Okay, we have breathe, wish, and purposeful. So there's a sense of almost this person kind of asking themselves, like, are you trying to run game on me? Like if you'd shut them down or rejected them, or you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to be the one that hangs up first this time, or, I'm not just going to be readily available to you. Like, I'm going to make it clear I got my own life going on. And although I like what we have going on at this point, like, I'm not going to lose myself in this connection or in whatever you have with one another. There's a sense of them seeing that was very intentional, very almost like you were trying to prove a point or establish a boundary that gives them a greater understanding of sort of what you're willing to tolerate and what must be kind of like an earned privilege with you. And so it's a sense of like, yeah, I want to play this game with you, almost like a game of cat and mouse, but not in the sense of kind of like manipulation, but almost something where like you've taken your power back or asserted your power in some sort of way or claimed that, like the energetic space of that for yourself. And now this person is like inclined to sort of show you like, okay, this is welcome. Like I like you standing in that empowered energy. It's like they want to encourage more of that within you, to put your foot down with them, or again, like make it hard for them, give them a challenge. They love it when you sort of like run away even, because it's like, yeah, I want to give chase. Of course I do. Like it's fascinating to them, or it's kind of like drawing them in even closer. So there's like, but there's a playful energy with that, almost like they've learned at this particular point in time, kind of like, okay, these are kind of the nature of our interactions, or this might have even been something where they kind of had pushed some of your boundaries and you had to give an ultimatum, or you just shut that down in some sort of way. That is helping them to understand like, okay, this is the way I need to interact with you in order to have like a positive or a successful kind of result. And when I cross certain boundaries or thresholds, or when I'm kind of not allowing that space for you to kind of just assert yourself, then I get pushed away or I get shut down. And so it's given them like a greater understanding of sort of who you are and what those thresholds are for you, that they feel like there's a lot to work with in that sense. Almost like I want to respect who you are as a person, but the fact that you've like challenged me now, you've kind of, you said no, this isn't somebody that's having that meltdown because they didn't get their way. It's kind of like, okay, this is something where now you've put me in my place in some capacity. And so the dynamic has sort of shifted between the two of you, but it's really turning them on, like energetically. It might even be like, they just find it very deeply attractive, this energy of personal empowerment, or kind of like knowing who you are in some sort of way. Something that you might even be looking at within yourself, and you might be defining as like, oh, I've got trust issues, or I've got my walls up, I've got my boundaries up. They're all about that. They're all about like, okay, yeah, I'll find a way to scale those walls. I'll find a way to kind of get you to let that drawbridge down little bit by little bit, and then I'll make my way forward, like into deeper interactions with you. Or I'm kind of like, I'm respecting that you're the king of your own castle. You're the queen of your own castle. I appreciate that you're not just here to placate me. You're not just here doing whatever it is I say, but you're asserting your authority within this connection as well, or just kind of like, this is who I am in my life in general. And so it feels like this is different from the ways in which it's almost like they didn't anticipate to be turned on by something like this, or intrigued by something like this. And yet it feels right. It feels almost like this could be wish fulfillment, because this is somebody that's almost like they're looking for a love story that's easy, a connection that's easy, but they understand that like relationships take work, and they might have been used to kind of the idea of relationships take work in their past. Is kind of like, okay, breaking up and making up, or, fighting and fixing. And instead, you've kind of like, as a breath of fresh air, you've shown them a different component of what that idea of putting in work is, which is like moving towards one another, touching upon those thresholds, touching upon those boundaries, touching upon those raw nerve endings, triggering one another, not in like a toxic way, but just in sort of like, this is the most that I'm comfortable to kind of give and receive at this time. To find where that line in the sand is drawn, and then to kind of build around that, or build with respect to that is showing kind of the idea of relationships take work, that it's a co-creative experience. Even if there was some disappointment in like the no that you had to tell this person, or as you kind of stepped away or created space between the two of you, there's a sense of like, I can work with this. This isn't something where it's like, I've crossed a line and you're giving me the silent treatment, and there's heated words, but then there's like this intense kind of like, okay, we get the makeup sex, we get the promises to change and the efforts to kind of smooth things over. This is which they're seeing, like patterns like that had only systematically led to like eventually it falls apart. Eventually something like that is not sustainable, or it kind of breaks both people's sort of interest in participating in those cycles. You're showing something else to this person that helps them to understand like a structure or a foundation with another person romantically can be built through the energies of like, we've each got our own say within the situation, but it doesn't have to come through the form of like volatility or like butting heads or, personality clashes or power struggles in that sense. And so this is almost like, this is a sense of it feels very unknown, very foreign to what they've ever experienced in a dynamic with someone romantically. But it's almost the energy of like, it's intriguing. Like, I want to breathe life into this. I want to know more. I want to experience the next layer of what it could be like to develop romantically or to have romantic experiences with someone that is so self-assured or has reached a place of kind of like, I choose me above and beyond anything that disrupts my peace. Like, they may have never even had romance with someone that had that amount of self-respect. And so that in and of itself is like, they've got a lot of respect for you in that capacity. And even if it kind of stunned them and they went sort of silent, there's a sense of like, I want more. I'm not just going to kind of run away and that's it. You've actually enticed or incentivized me even more to pick up the pace of sort of what I'm demonstrating to you, or to show you aspects of myself that I think might work with this level of sort of sovereignty or independence or self-assurance that you've demonstrated. Like they've heard that within your actions or within the nature of that last interaction. And so this is somebody who's almost adjusting their strategy with you in accordance with that. So let's get a couple more, and then I'll get into some standalone message cards. Okay, we have Keeper of Boundaries, Keeper of Whimsy, and Keeper of Wishes. Yeah, so another one of these like wish fulfillment. They wished on a star once upon a time, a partner that, could challenge them and at the same point in time kind of be that safe space, be that place that is kind of the sanctuary when the outside world becomes too challenging. And the last interaction with you has given them that indicator, that you are somebody who won't just be kind of like a burden on them romantically or actually, that you're somebody that you prioritize yourself over kind of what the role is in romance with another person, that is helping them to kind of understand a different possibility for what long-term partnership could look like. That energy of boundaries there, they find that very sexy. Your personal boundaries, your sense of self, even something where you might have just been like, I'm busy because I'm going to do things with my friends. I'm busy because I need to kind of take some time for myself. Even if it was something like that, where you might have even told them like, hey, I need to sort of sit and think what I want in the future with you. Where is this headed? Where is this going? Does this align with what I want? Anything that you might have said or done that kind of established that I need to just go into my corner and review kind of where we're at and where we're going moving forward. This is something that kind of shows this person, hey, you've got your own mind. You're prioritizing your well-being above and beyond just being kind of useful to somebody else. And so there's a sense of, they're very encouraged to continue to sort of fight for your heart, win your trust, earn your trust, work to kind of claim a place in your life, or even hold space while you're sort of tending to other things within your reality in order to build with them further. because they feel almost assured in some sort of sense that who you are presenting as right now, this isn't just some kind of mask or illusion that when the relationship were to kind of evolve into something more permanent, then that would go away and you just lose yourself in the connection. That all of a sudden this person would then be expected to kind of keep it all together for the team, to do all that heavy lifting, to be the one that like all those responsibilities fall upon, that you're showing that you're a true team player. You're somebody that, can self-sustain, you know yourself, you value yourself, you honor yourself, you respect yourself, you love yourself, and that therefore makes you a perfect asset to building with someone that it feels like has been striving to kind of cultivate that same sense within themselves. It's the energy of almost like, I see you in myself. You're that wish come true. You are that wish fulfillment. You're the person that kind of like fits in with sort of what I need to have that wake-up call, what I need to stay on track, what I need in order to be kind of motivated, what I need in order to not lose myself in the nature of the idea of what we can be, but to really just sort of also focus on the reality of who I am in the moment. So there's a sense that this person wants to continue to like respect your boundaries, but there's definitely like something within them has been activated that it's almost like your next interaction with one another, there you may sense or experience like, hey, they're putting in more effort than before. That no energetically or actually didn't push this person away. It actually activated something within them where it's like, okay, that's what they needed. That was like that secret code word that turned on this part of them that rises to the occasion in love, that waits until it's time to kind of cross those thresholds, cross those boundaries, kind of scale those mountains in order to be able to come into a place of deeper connection. This is somebody that they feel like you're worth the wait in some sort of way, and there's a level of almost impatience at this point, but that it kind of feels good for them. It's almost like they're in the energy of like pining for you, aching for you, longing for you. You've now turned yourself into the carrot on the string, and you're like dangling yourself further out of their reach, and it's motivating them to kind of get up, take steps forward, sort of evolve beyond what they've shown you up to this point in time in your connection into somebody that is a response to those boundaries. Not in the sense of like, I'm going to push these boundaries and I'm going to force my way through, but a sense of like, I respect your boundaries, and so I'm going to make sure that like my energy or my communication or my efforts still reaches you, but with respect for what you've shown me. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and we have, I want to create with you. Yeah, so they see you as the perfect team player. Somebody who it feels like even the parts of them that are a bit stubborn or disagreeable, it's a sense of like you've shown them this side of yourself now, and there's a sense of like we're a match made in heaven then. If anyone could tolerate this part of me, it would be you, because you've now just shown me that same facet, that same tendency exists within you. So it's almost like their shadow is very drawn to you, kind of like, okay, there's parts of me that might have been unlovable by other people, parts that I could have struggled to accept within myself, or that had presented as obstacles in interpersonal relationships, but you're somebody that speaks that same love language, or you got that same propensity, that same proclivity within you. You have those same qualities and characteristics, and so there's a sense of almost like, rather that being an incompatibility or problematic as it might have been in other relationships in their past, there's almost a sense of maybe we're so similar in that way that you're the kind of person that can understand and have love for that part of me, just as I am now feeling this understanding and this surge of love towards that part within you. They also say you are always so sweet. So this is the energy of like, you're so cute when you're mad, you're so cute when you're frustrated, not to like downplay anything you've had to say to them or something of that nature, but it's almost like if you told yourself like, okay, I'm just going to have to, lay down some boundaries. I'm going to have to be the tough guy in this situation, the tough girl and sort of assert for myself or prioritize my own needs. Like the way in which you did that, it got this person's attention. It might have been very unexpected, almost might have really thrown them for a loop. But there's a part of them that's like, it was still so sweet. Like you weren't giving them what they expected or what they wanted, and yet you made that refusal feel so endearing. You made it feel like it was never, it was just not right now. And so this is incentivizing them to kind of like, okay, I'll wait till you're ready. I'll wait till you give me that sign, or you give me that indicator, or you give me that very direct confirmation. Like, okay, let's proceed forward. Okay, I've taken that moment to myself. Now let's get back on track with one another. It's like you've taken charge in that sense, and they find that to be very sexy. They'll say, I'm so sorry for not giving you the time and attention you deserve. So yeah, that can be where like you've had to lay down a boundary. They were kind of slacking on their communication, or it was sort of dry between the two of you, and you might have really matched that energy. You didn't present as all of a sudden as available as you were, or you might have called that out very directly in a way that they've been like thinking about that. They've been thinking about those exchanges, even just something where maybe you went a little cold, you got a little reserved, they were dry with communication, you became dry as well. And so there's something that they've like noted about that is letting them know this isn't just going to be an easy situation. It's not just a shoo-in. They're going to have to put in some work in order to remain relevant for you as a romantic possibility, in order to claim an even greater place in your life. And so this is something where it feels like they're getting ready to rise to the occasion to kind of show you that they're more interested than they'd let on before, or that they're invested in kind of building beyond the place of hurt egos, misunderstandings, or even just something where you needed to kind of set a boundary for yourself. That there's the sense of like, I respect that, but I want to still see where we can meet in the middle to be able to create more closeness with one another. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. L, I, W, M, M, N, H, C, L, X, R, B, D, C, O, S, D, G, U, I, and N. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.